No one reacted. No one pointed. The woman with the coffee didn't glance up. The man with the dog barely noticed them. The world just kept turning. Claire smiled knowingly. See? The universe isn't watching you like you think it is. Ethan dared a quick glance up. His reflection caught in a shop window, and his stomach flipped. It was him, but not him. It was Lila walking, breathing, existing outside the safety of four walls. I don't look, he began nervously. Like Ethan. Claire finished softly. He swallowed hard. Yeah, good, she said simply. They reached the corner, and Claire stopped, turning him gently to face her. How do you feel? Ethan let out a shaky laugh. Like I'm going to pass out. But also, like I just did something impossible. Claire brushed a stray lock of wig hair from his face. You did. And you handled it better than you think. Before he could respond, a voice startled him. Cute sweater. Ethan froze, whipping his head toward the source. The woman with the coffee was smiling warmly at him, lifting her cup in a casual wave before walking away. Heat surged through Ethan's face. Was it real? Was she mocking him? But the look in her eyes hadn't seemed cruel, it had seemed genuine. Claire leaned close, whispering with a grin. Told you. You blend in more than you realize. Ethan's chest swelled with a confusing mix of fear, relief, and pride. For the first time, stepping back into the apartment, he wasn't just Ethan playing dress-up. He was Lila, and the world had seen her, if only for a moment. Back inside the apartment, Ethan shut the door and leaned against it like he had just outrun a storm. His pulse was still racing, but his face burned with something he couldn't quite name. Claire set down her purse, watching him with a soft smile. You did it. First walk, done. How does it feel? Ethan let out a shaky laugh, pacing the living room. Honestly? Like I just jumped off a cliff and somehow landed on my feet. He paused, gripping the edge of the couch. That woman, she said, cute sweater. Did she mean it? Or was she mocking me? Claire stepped closer, her tone calm but firm. Mocking you? Not a chance. She barely paused. It was casual, real. And you know what? Even if she had meant it sarcastically, it didn't matter because you handled yourself beautifully. Ethan rubbed his temples. I still can't believe I actually went outside dressed like this. I kept waiting for someone to laugh or say something cruel. But they didn't, Claire reminded him. Because most people are too wrapped up in their own lives to care. You're the only one carrying this storm in your head. Ethan sank onto the couch, pulling at the hem of the oversized sweater. He caught his reflection again in the darkened TV screen, wig slightly askew, makeup smudged from the cold, necklace glinting faintly. For the first time, instead of recoiling, he just stared. I didn't look bad, he admitted quietly. Claire's lips curved into a smile. She sat beside him, tucking her legs underneath her. You looked better than not bad. You looked right. And deep down, I think you know it. Ethan turned sharply toward her, panic flickering in his eyes. Don't say that. Don't. Make this bigger than it is. It's just an experiment. Game. Claire tilted her head, unshaken. If that's what you want to call it, fine. But Lila isn't just a game piece. She's a part of you. And now that you've let her out, she's not going to vanish. Ethan's breath caught. The words landed too heavily, too true. He wanted to argue, but instead all he could whisper was, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Claire squeezed his hand. You don't have to be. No timelines, no pressure. Just steps. Like today. And tomorrow, maybe another step. He stared at their joined hands, silent for a long moment. His mind was spinning, torn between fear and a magnetic pull he couldn't deny. Finally, Claire broke the silence with a mischievous grin. Speaking of steps, I think Lila deserves a reward for her bravery. Ethan groaned. Claire, if this is another trick gift. Not a trick. She stood, pulling him gently toward the bedroom. Think of it as encouragement. On the bed sat a neatly wrapped box, smaller than the ones from Christmas morning. Ethan hesitated, but Claire nudged him. Go on. Open it. With trembling hands, he pulled back the wrapping. Inside was a delicate, powder blue dress, soft, flowing, with subtle lace at the collar. Ethan's eyes widened. Claire, this looks expensive. Because you earned it, she said simply. It's not for a game. It's for her. For Lila. The name echoed in his chest, stirring that same terrifying thrill. He touched the fabric, his voice barely a whisper. You really think she deserves this? Claire smiled. I don't just think it. I know it. The box sat open on the bed, the powder blue dress lying across the tissue paper like a secret waiting to be told. Ethan's fingers hovered over the fabric, brushing it gently as if it might dissolve under his touch. It feels soft, he murmured, almost to himself. Claire leaned against the dresser, watching him with that steady, unshakable gaze. That's because it's meant for you. Ethan shot her a skeptical look. Me? Or the imaginary version of me you keep pushing forward? Claire smiled knowingly. Not imaginary. She's been here all along. You just never gave her the chance to shine. Ethan's throat tightened. He looked down at the dress again, the pale blue catching the light. A part of him wanted to shove it back into the box and forget all of this. Another part, the part that remembered the woman's casual cute sweater the day before, ached to see what he might look like. Try it, Claire urged softly. If you hate it, we pack it away. But if you don't, she let the sentence dangle in the air. With a shaky sigh, Ethan stood. Claire helped him slip out of the oversized sweater and leggings, leaving him once again in stockings and wig. His skin prickled with nerves as she carefully lifted the dress and slid it over his head. The fabric settled against him like a whisper. It was lighter than he expected, flowing gently as it draped across his frame. The lace collar brushed against his collarbone, grazing the silver star pendant that hung around his neck. When he turned toward the mirror, he stopped breathing. The reflection staring back wasn't awkward or silly. The dress softened his shoulders, lengthened his figure, and framed his face in a way that made the lightest makeup suddenly look elegant. Claire came to stand behind him, resting her chin on his shoulder. Well, what do you see? Ethan swallowed hard. I don't know. It doesn't look like me. Maybe not Ethan, Claire whispered. But what about Lila? He stared longer, the name pressing deeper into him. For the first time, he didn't feel like a man in borrowed clothes. He felt like Lila was real, standing there in the mirror, smiling nervously back at him. She looks happy, he admitted softly. Claire's smile widened. Then let her be. Ethan's eyes stung suddenly, tears pricking at the corners. But what does that mean? If I let her be, what happens to me? Claire turned him gently to face her. You don't lose yourself. You grow. You're still Ethan. You're also Lila. Both can exist if you want them to. He blinked rapidly, overwhelmed. I'm scared. I know. Claire brushed her thumb across his cheek, steadying him. But every step you've taken so far, you've handled with more grace than you realize. Ethan dropped his gaze, fingers clutching the hem of the dress. I don't hate it. Claire's eyes sparkled. That's a start. Before he could respond, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She glanced at it, then raised an eyebrow. Interesting. My sister just invited us over for New Year's dinner. Ethan's stomach lurched. Absolutely not. Claire's grin turned mischievous. Relax. I'm not saying you'd go as Lila. But imagine, she leaned closer, whispering in his ear. What if you did? Ethan froze, staring at her, heart pounding with both dread and a flicker of something he couldn't deny, an almost dangerous thrill. Ethan spun on Claire, his eyes wide. You can't be serious. New Year's dinner? With your family? As is this. He gestured helplessly at the powder blue dress, his voice breaking halfway through. Claire folded her arms, calm as ever. I didn't say you had to. I just said, imagine it. Imagine? Ethan paced the room, tugging at the hem of the dress like it might anchor him. I can barely handle walking down the street for 5 minutes. You want me to sit across the table from your sister and pretend everything's normal? Claire tilted her head. Who said you have to pretend? What if it was normal? The words struck him like lightning. He froze mid-step, staring at her. Don't do that. Don't make it sound simple. She softened her tone, stepping closer. You're right, it's not simple. It's scary and vulnerable, and you'd feel like the whole world was watching. But here's the thing, Ethan. She touched his cheek, gently tilting his face toward the mirror again. The world already has seen you. Yesterday, that woman on the bench saw you. And what did she do? Ethan whispered, she said, cute sweater. Exactly. No screaming. No ridicule. Just kindness. Claire's eyes locked onto his. Why couldn't it be the same with my family? Ethan's chest tightened. Because your family knows you. They'll know me. They'll ask questions I can't answer. Or, Claire countered, they'll accept you faster than you think. You don't have to give them all the answers. You just have to show up. The idea made his stomach flip. He wanted to laugh it off, dismiss it as impossible. But deep down, a dangerous thought whispered, what if she's right? Ethan tore his gaze from the mirror, voice trembling. Why are you pushing this so hard? Claire smiled faintly. Because I see you in ways you don't see yourself. And I think Lila deserves to breathe outside of these four walls. Even if it's just once. Silence stretched between them. Ethan's pulse roared in his ears. Finally, he slumped onto the bed, burying his face in his hands. I don't know if I can. Claire sat beside him, rubbing small circles on his back. Then don't decide now. It's a few days away. Just think about it. He let out a shaky laugh. Thinking about it is the problem. She chuckled softly, leaning against him. Then maybe don't think so hard. Just try on the idea. Like you tried on the stockings. Like you tried on the dress. One piece at a time. Ethan peeked at his reflection again, the powder blue dress gleaming in the dim light. His heart pounded with dread, and something else. Curiosity. Claire pressed a quick kiss to his cheek. Besides, she added slyly, imagine the look on my sister's face when she meets the most beautiful girl at the table, and it turns out to be you. Ethan groaned, burying his face in a pillow. But he couldn't stop the smallest, most dangerous smile from creeping across his lips. The next few days slipped by in a haze of conflict. Ethan tried to bury himself in routine, work shifts at the hospital, quick dinners, late-night TV, but every quiet moment, the powder blue dress haunted him from Claire's closet like a secret waiting to be revealed. Claire didn't press, at least not directly. But she had a way of slipping subtle nudges into conversation. You know, Lila would look amazing in that scarf we saw downtown. Or, when Ethan mentioned being nervous at work, funny, Lila never seemed afraid of strangers. Each time, Ethan groaned, stop calling me that, but the protests were weaker than they used to be. On December 30th, 2 days before New Year's dinner, he found himself standing in front of the mirror again. Not dressed up. Just Ethan, plain t-shirt and jeans. He stared at his reflection, whispering the name under his breath. Lila. The sound echoed through him, tugging at something deeper than curiosity now. It wasn't just Claire's game anymore. It was his. That night, while Claire was out grabbing groceries, Ethan opened her closet and pulled out the box with the dress. He set it carefully on the bed, heart pounding like he was committing a crime. It took him 15 minutes of pacing before he finally slipped it on again. The way it draped over him, the softness of the fabric, it wasn't shocking anymore. It was grounding. Like the dress fit some hidden outline inside him. He sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the mirror. For the first time, he whispered not as a joke but as a quiet truth. I'm Lila. The sound made his chest ache in a way that was both terrifying and relieving. Claire came home minutes later, bags in hand. She froze when she saw her already dressed. Slowly, she set the bags down and smiled. You did that on your own. Ethan flushed. Don't make a big deal out of it. I'm not, Claire said gently, crossing the room to adjust the necklace at his collarbone. I'm just proud of you.